Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are. Yes, I have lost a nail. My name is Cece and welcome to my world. So today's video is just going into a little bit more depth of why I started YouTube. If you've subscribed to me, which you should have, or even if you've just been following me on my journey so far, you'd be aware that the whole reason I started up this YouTube channel was because I lost my boyfriend, my partner, around 1.5 years ago, and I just wanted to keep some sort form of like video, a vlog, just diary, and YouTube. And I just kind of wanted to just put it out there and kind of just show people that you can handle death. It's not something to get over, but something to work through. And I realized that even though I've kind of said, oh, well, this is how I'm dealing with it, I haven't actually gone into more detail as to how he died, and even more so how we even met. So yeah, over the next 2 videos I'll just be going into a little bit more depth of how we met, how long we were together, and what we were like together, and then obviously ultimately what it was that he died from. So yeah, stay tuned guys. So we met, well, officially we met in October of 2014, and we both had mutual friends. So one of my really close good friends was and still is with one of his boys that he knew from back in his home country, and we kind of met through them really. So on nights out or whatever, different occasions that we all kind of got together as a group, we'd kind of see each other and just be like hi. It wasn't nothing too serious or anything like that. But in October of 2014 he asked for my number, and I was like, well, okay, I guess you can have my number. So yeah, I gave him my number and we just started talking. So we'd been texting each other and he'd been like asking me to come see him and stuff, and I'd be like, no, I'm not ready for that, just hold your horses matey. So yeah, we didn't actually meet up until we bumped into we didn't even bump into each other because I knew he was going to be out, and I'm sure he knew I was going to be out, on New Year's Eve of 2014. We all decided to go out as a group, and we ended up meeting up with the guys, and yeah, so he was like, come round to my house tomorrow, we can celebrate the new year together, just I'll cook you dinner, whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, why not, new year, just go for it, see what happens. So obviously I went round to his house and we literally stayed up the whole night just talking about our life and just kind of connecting and getting to know each other a little bit more. Obviously we'd been speaking for a few months beforehand, so we knew like the basics, age, where he was from, all that. I knew the basics about him, but we just kind of went into a little bit more depth about each other, and yeah, we literally just connected, and from that point onwards we were inseparable. Wherever I was, he was there, and wherever he was, I was there. I think the longest point we spent apart was a whole week, and that was when I went on holiday with one of my cousins. Apart from that, so a week was the longest time we ever spent apart from each other. Apart from that, we were together literally every day. And yeah, so we kind of just hit it off straight away. There was no oh, I'll ring you tomorrow, or no, there was none of that. We were together. Wherever I was, he was there. Wherever he was, I was there. And it didn't feel strange, it didn't feel rushed, it didn't feel weird. And yeah, my friends, family, everybody accepted him, and he kind of just slotted in, really, because he was such a quiet-ish person when he was around new people. I say quiet, he was quiet when he was around new people, but once you got to know him, you saw the more crazier, fun side of him. Obviously, every relationship has their ups and downs, and ours was no different. We had crazy times where we were literally at each other's throat, and then there were times where we absolutely like loved each other. And a lot of people said, or during the bad times, because to be honest, he did cheat, and during the bad times everyone was like, oh, you just get rid of him, just leave him, kind of thing. And that's what they were hinting at. But the reason I stuck around, and the reason why I would never tell my friend to leave a man, is the simple fact is, only I knew what I saw in him. I saw potential, and it wasn't just that I saw potential, I knew he had potential too. And he made steps in wanting to change and reach the potential that he knew was within him. When we first met, he was addicted to weed, so he'd spend like £10-20 a day, and he drank if and when he could. Now, there were deeper issues. He did have some issues from his past that he kind of used the weed and the drink to kind of blot out, and he knew he was using them as a kind of healing agent, which I would never ever say to anyone use to try and get over an issue, an emotional issue, the past hurt, get through your demons. But yeah, that's the route he chose to go, and there was no one that was around him at the time that could have been like, listen, there's a bigger problem here, there's a bigger problem why you feel like you need to use the weed, why you feel like you need to drink as much as you do. And so I guess at that time I was the person to be like, you know, come on, you know you can do better, we can do this together. And so his aim that we were working towards together was for him to get his English driving license, and that was a struggle. Firstly, because he basically went cold turkey. He just woke up one day and he was like, I'm going to stop smoking, I'm going to stop drinking, and he did. And because he'd been addicted to weed and for so long, from such a young age, he used to suffer from night terrors. He used to suffer from like waking up in a panic and covered in sweat, and there were times where he couldn't even sleep by himself, and I'd have to sleep with him and cradle him like a child, just because the withdrawal symptoms of the weed, because he was using so much. But he had a greater goal in mind, and once he overcame that, he spoke English, but that wasn't his mother tongue, that wasn't his main language. And so I was like, well, if you're gonna go to pass your test, your driving test in England, you need to learn how to speak English correctly, and you need to know how to write and read fluently in English, because you're gonna have to pass the theory test, and the theory test is in English, and you're gonna have to understand the road signs and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to WH Smith in England. WH Smith is like a bookstore. We're gonna go to WH Smith, we're gonna get some books, we're gonna learn how to speak correct English, and we're gonna learn how to read properly and learn how to write. And to the point where it got to the point where, like, some nights when it was just us two sitting in the house, because we lived together at this point, when we was just sat in the house, just me and him, I'd turn the TV on to subtitles and make him sit and read the subtitles, just so that he could get into the idea of reading English. And you know, just he needed to speak English. He wanted it, and I wanted it for him. So I just kept pushing him in every way that I could. He used to finish work early, so I always used to be like, right, I'll get home. When I get home from work, if you cook my dinner and have my PJs ready for when I get out the shower, then I'll sit down with you for an hour, 2 hours, as long as it takes, so we can do some revision together. And he'd always be like, okay. And so my food was always ready, and my pajamas were already fresh and clean and waiting for me on my bed. So we made it a team effort. And so yeah, at the point where he did actually pass away, we were getting ready to enroll him into maths and English GCSEs, because he'd got to that standard, which for him, he'd never thought that he was even smart enough or clever enough to reach that. And I was like, no, you have the potential, you have the drive, you have the passion to get there. And the whole idea of him getting his driving license kind of went to the side, because he was like, nah, I want to do this. And I was like, if you can get your GCSEs, then you can get your A-levels. And if you can get your A-levels, you can get into university. And if you can get into university, you can do whatever you want, as long as you want to do it and you have the passion. And so a lot of people, like I said, just saw the bad when I was running to them and complaining about what was going on between us and the argument or whatever. But there was a lot more to his issues, my issues, our issues, a lot more to the relationship. And again, so yeah, we stuck it out, kind of just fought through everything. Yeah, and I guess that's kind of where our relationship was. We celebrated our first anniversary together. So we was together for just under 2 years. It was so officially our anniversary would have been like the 2nd of January, but we always celebrated it on the 1st of January, just because that's the day that we actually kind of connected on a deep level, as in we sat down and had a conversation face to face rather over text. So we always said that the 1st of January was our anniversary. So yeah, he passed away on the 19th of December, so that was 6 days before Christmas and like 2-3 weeks before our anniversary. And yeah, he was actually buried on our anniversary, so it was really hard. And he was buried in his home country, so he came from Gambia, so he was buried in Gambia. We arranged for his body to be flown back. And there was just so many problems and issues and different things that had happened from him passing to being buried. And yeah, so he was buried on our anniversary. And like I've said in previous videos, you don't realize how much stuff there is to do when someone passes. So the fact that I had to delete even little things like Facebook, delete his email account, call up his work and be like, yeah, I'm sorry, he's passed away. And I'm like, are you being for real? Because he was fine. He went to work on the Friday and he was dead by the Monday. So they were like, I don't understand, he was fine at work. So yeah, it was literally a matter of 3 days. So there was so much stuff. We'd planned to go away for our anniversary. I had to cancel all that. I didn't even get the money back for that. And that kind of was another blow to me, because I was just like, ugh, I've paid for something I can't even go to. I can't even go on. I can't even stay in the hotel. I can't, you know, there was just so many different things. And yeah, it was just a mad period. And in the process of that, I wasn't looking after myself, so I've put on like 2.5 stone, 2 stone, 2.5 stone, because I was just like, I don't care, I'm just gonna eat myself until I feel eat until I feel better in myself. And So yeah, I've put on around 2.5 stone from when he passed away, just because I wasn't looking after myself, and now I'm seeing side effects of that. So like my skin has gone to pot. It's just absolutely greasy. As I said in my previous video before this, I had a skin infection. It was quite bad, and that made me quite ill. I had to take time off work because of that. Like when people die, there's just so much more involved in just healing emotionally. It takes a physical toll on your body, a mental strain. It's just such even a spiritual one. It drains you of everything, and I think for the last year and a half I've literally been living on adrenaline, and because I physically don't know how I've survived. I don't know, and I still find it hard to get up in the morning. I still find it hard to want to do anything. I still find it hard to just do daily chores, like get out of bed. But I know that I have to work through this. I have to push myself more. I have to do it. I don't want my life to be wasted. I'm living, I'm still alive. I don't want my life to be wasted on something that I can't change. And as painful and as sad as that is the reality of it. I can't not live just because he's lost his life too. Yeah, it's emotional, it's painful, but it's reality. It's reality for everybody. So yeah, I had to move out of the house, but in a way it came at a good time, because moving out of the house that we shared allowed me chance to just exhale and kind of start afresh. And when the last time when I went in to clear out my cupboards and stuff, and my dad was like, oh, don't take anything with you, just if you've got any food or anything, just throw it away, because you're going to start afresh in your new home. And it made me feel so sad. Made me feel so sad, because it was afresh without him. And I didn't. It was just hard, because knowing that it was real, it was final, and in the long run it's worked out for me, because I do feel better for being here. I don't feel as lonely, even though I live on my own. I don't feel as lonely, because when I come home there's not that reminder that, oh, he should be here, or this is where he would sit, he had his own little chair that he'd sat on, or he would have been cooking out of this big pot even though we only two of us. Like, there wasn't that kind of reminder. So moving helped, but death is never easy. Death is never easy, and you never move past it. You just learn to deal with it. He will always be in my head, he will always be in my heart, even if or when, because I might not move on. I don't know, as in get another partner. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't want to. I'm just saying I'm not in a rush. When and if it happens, then that person will have to understand that actually I've been through a bit of a rough time. I've been through a little bit of a bumpy patch, and so you're gonna have to deal with that. And if they're not willing to deal with that, so be it. So yeah, that's really how we met and how our relationship was, and the process of before and after his death. Stay tuned for part 2, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper into what it was he actually died from. It's not easy to talk about, but death is not easy. It's our physical bodies that hurt, it's our physical, it's our soul that ache. So it's not going to be easy thing to do, but I just want people to understand. I just want people who haven't lost to understand what it means to lose, and for those that have lost to know that there are other people out here who have lost too, young and old. It doesn't affect just older people. I was 29 when he died. I was 29. Which 29-year-old deserves or do you know what I mean, thinks that they're gonna have to bury a partner or a boyfriend? It's just, you'd think that it doesn't happen to you, but it does. So yeah, so just stay tuned for part 2.